Hello everyone. I know people have a hard time finding collage fodder or little bits of paper that they can glue into glue books or collage. And so let's play a game. I have here a free health news. I found this at the library, and it doesn't really have a whole lot in it, but let me just go through it real fast. There's not a lot in it, but there's going to be some. I would say most people would look at a publication like this and say maybe they could find 5 things that they could use out of this. So let's play a game and see how much stuff we can find in something like this. And you can find these just about anywhere. Any city will have free publications. Advertisers like to advertise what's in the area. Libraries have these kinds of things, and hotels, tourist information places, those kinds of things. So it was a very boring publication, but I don't necessarily like this heart, but I like the color here. So I am going to rip this, and I am going to rip out that bit of color. Now, I bet that I can find at least 25 bits. I don't like that red there, so I'm going to tear that off. I think I can find 25 bits in this magazine. Now, I don't really like the heart. Some people might, but I do like this red with the triangles over it. So I'm going to do another random tear, see if I can get a bit of that and save it. So I don't see anything else on that side. So flip it over. What do we have? These people are pretty cool, and I'm going to cut them out. There's some doctors, but that's just an interesting little bit. And then these hearts here, I'm going to cut instead of tear because it's such a small little bit that I'll probably rip it in half, and then it'll be really, really, really small. So is there anything else? The little hearts are kind of cool, but they're really kind of small. But I do really like my little small bits, so let's just tear it out. If I use them, fine. If I don't, I don't. All right, so that one is finished. Go to this side. Here's some more of those people. I'm just going to cut them out real fast. I love these black numbers, random numbers. And you know what? I'm going to cut them out all together in a block and just use them in something that way. So we'll look at the rest of them at the end. So this is a cool little color bit. All right, and there's some tiny little glasses here, which would be fun on a face or something. Should probably get another basket for the tiny little things. All right, so I like to look at the back side of things because I come up with all kinds of interesting abstract bits that I don't think about. And as I'm looking at this, that's kind of cool. The light, actually, the words are kind of cool too. So let me just rip that. And I might not like the words later, but at least I have an option. So that's another one. All right. I probably should do that one too. Let me cut this one out. We're just on the first page and I haven't gotten very far here. All right. So that is that. That out of the way. All right. Now I'm going to rip these pages out as I go, just to make it easier. These people down here are really cool. Don't necessarily want all the bubbles, but I might want them later. So I'm just going to roughly cut them out now, so then I can decide later what I really, really want. So I'm just going to leave it like that. There's a heart here, which might be cool. Let me look on the other side to see what I have. I don't want to cut up anything that's really, really cool for something that's, I probably wouldn't use. But it is an image. So I'm going to put that one to the side because I don't know if I would use it. But then turn it over and we've got this part of a top of a head, and that's kind of cool, like that. Some people might cut out this medical association logo. I wouldn't use it myself, so I'm not going to. This is kind of cool. Let me just cut that out since it's so small. A nice teal color. And I like the words with the circles. And I'm just going to cut that or tear it out randomly so it's an interesting shape. So it's something different. Put that in there. Sharing isn't always. Some interesting words. Put that in there. Anything else? I really don't like the logo, so you hold the key to your heart. Interesting words. All right. And I think that's it. Next page. That's kind of cool. I like the colors. I don't necessarily like the heart. But I do like this blue. And I'm just going to rip it because it's faster and I'll get a weird shape. Some people might like this heart, so I'm going to, oops, and I ripped it in half. So there you go. Some abstract pieces. I don't see anything else. Pop quiz, I don't know. So here's this eye. It's really painful to look at. And here's a little person. Let's cut her out. She's kind of cool. But I wouldn't leave her as a square. I would kind of fussy cut her a little bit. So let's just do it a little bit so that we can see what we have at the end. Let's make that not quite so squared off. All right. So this is obviously somebody who is having some eye issues. It's a very red eye, and it's painful to look at. I love eyes. I wouldn't necessarily use something in my collages that look this painful. It just looks painful. But I like the eye here looks good. So I'm just going to rip off the parts that I like. I don't necessarily need to use the whole eye. It's still pretty red right there. So let me tear that off because it looks really painful. And so I've got this abstract eye that I would use now that it doesn't look like it's in a lot of pain. And I don't see anything else. So I'm going to get rid of all of that. Next page. Anything on the other side? This guy could work as something, but look at this out of focus bit. Like that a lot. And I like her. Don't necessarily want her whole head. I think this is what makes collage pieces interesting, is you can rip things up and not cut out the whole person. It makes it more interesting when it's not exactly what you would use or what you would think of. So this one, there's a person here and there's a person here. I like her face a lot. I would use that. I don't see anything else on here. Maybe a W, but I'm not really collecting letters. Her ear is interesting. I think ear is a scavenger hunt. So I'm going to keep it. I'm not sure that I would really use it. And then here's another wonderful face. And let's make it more interesting. I think she needs a little less. There we go. A little less. And I don't see anything else really that I would want to use. Next page. To tear. Tore off one of those hearts, and that's a cool heart. So I will save that heart. I was going to show you at the end. These other hearts at the bottom look kind of interesting. See if I can tear them. Paper has a grain. If you can find the grain, either it's sideways or it's up and down. You can tear with the grain much easier than you can against. When you go against, it goes into really crazy ways, which can be really fun. All right, I like her a lot. I like that silhouette, and I think what I will do is kind of fussy cut her out a little bit. Not exactly, but close, so that I have that face. I like this color a lot. So let me I'm going to cut off the white. What a great pop of color that'll be. Buildings in the background, and she's kind of cool too. Oh, that's an interesting shape. Going up and down obviously is making it against the grain, so it's tearing in a really strange way, which is fun. I don't know if I would use that, but it is interesting. I'm going to put it in there. And I don't know if I like too much of the doctor bit, but look at this background. And I would use this in like the freestyle. It's just an interesting texture, I guess. Okay, I'm not going to use any of that, so get rid of it. We're halfway through the magazine. Look at all this wonderful red. I don't see anything on that side. Another out of focus bit. Love that. I'm going to go a little bit faster. I don't know what it is about that, but I like that a lot. And then these bits of red, well, her face too. Let's see if we can tear her face in half. I'm going to toe the top off. So that's a cool little spot. A little bit. And then the other half of her face. I like that. And this red bit here, I always love a little bit of red. It adds a pop of color. It's interesting. So I would use that. I don't see anything else. There's hardly any of her face left on this side. I am just going to say no. So here's a bunch of red. Oh, but look at that. I really like that. That is probably the image that I saw and wanted the magazine for, because that's really cool. And then frazzle, I like that word. I don't know what, I don't think I've ever seen that word printed out before. Frazzle. That's a cool word. All right. Get that staple out of here. So there's bits of red, and you know, I would keep these little bits of red to stamp on or to add paint to, and get rid of this white bit, and that would make a painted paper bit fun next for another time. Little bit of text. Some more text. All right. So that's kind of interesting. I am just going to rip that out. I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's showing arteries or something. But if I tear it in a way you really can't tell what it is, it makes an interesting abstract bit. You put things on top of it, you'll never know what it is. All right, so hands like a heart. I always like those. All these other ones are pretty medical. You don't want a Band-Aid, bones, or anything, but that strip is really cool. Let's see if we can. I'm going to use a ruler because it's so skinny. Rip it out. And that off. So that's a cool strip of red. That one, not really that interesting. I'll put that one in. All right, so don't really like any of those. Get rid of them. All these little, well, that's a cool little bit. Save that one. Here's another bit of hearts. Like that. That one's really a cool one. Here's a little heart with some hands. That's really cute. Don't want the headache one. I'll trim it up better later. And I do like this red little bit, so go ahead and save that little bit. All right. I'm not big on food, so I am not going to do anything with that. I might save some of these words because there's a color behind them, but not going to do it this time. Here's some veggies. Well, that's kind of a cool dark piece. Don't know where that came from. And I am just going to save this whole thing and rip it up later. I'm not sure. I probably wouldn't use the whole thing as it is, but I'd probably use part of it. It's more interesting as part, so that's probably what I would do. I'm not big into food images. The recipes might be interesting. Okay, so I am going to randomly rip out that because the color is really cool. I might not use it as a whole piece because I'm not a big baseball person, but as a separate piece, it might be fun in something. So what do we have on the other side? Got these people who obviously are not happy with each other. And maybe that can be disguised a little bit if I tear them apart. And then he's all by himself. And then her looking up like that. It's pretty cool. Don't want the white. Don't necessarily want all of this. But that's pretty cool. All right. So there's nothing there. I love word search. I don't even have to look on the other side. I want the word search. And those hearts are very nice. Like the hearts. And heart on this side too. So word search, I love that. And it's faster if I rip, so I'm just going to rip it out. All right, and then not really a whole lot there. I don't really want the doctors. Huh. I'm going to save him. He was a happy accident. Get rid of these guys. And then the solution. It's nice that they put the solution in the same magazine. So if you have trouble, don't usually have trouble with word search. But I do like the way they look. And then some more random texture bits. And on the other side is this guy. How funny is that? She's kind of cool, and so is she. Let's see here. Let's cut her out. Quickly. So she's kind of a nice addition there. And I really like this guy's face. There's the other half of his face. And she's kind of cool. Let's see what happens when I rip her out. Like that. I don't need a bobbin. I'm not real thrilled about that. But I like these polka dots right here. And I'm always looking for something dark to put. Here's a face. So that's a cool little abstract. And then this little face. So we are done. How many bits do you think we found in a free publication that didn't have a whole lot in it? And these are things here in this basket that I would probably use eventually. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, he's really dark, 15, I'm just going to count those as 1, and these I'm going to count as 1, so that's 16, 17, These red strips are 18, 19, 20. I'm not counting those. I don't know if I would use that or not. And I'm not sure, I'm not going to count that either, but I probably would use those. 21 for frazzle, 22, 23, 24. I'm going to count them as one, but there's two separate ones. 25. I love this one. 26. I don't know if I would use that, so I'm not going to count it. 27. I like this color. 28. 29. I don't know if I'd really use a bunch of these hearts. Singly, I probably would. The teddy bear is kind of cool. The little figure here is pretty cool. I do like the one here. So I think I'm at 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, the eye, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. I don't know if I will count those. 42. We'll put those with that. I love these. 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, and a couple little abstract tiny little bits. So we got quite a few interesting little bits out of a free publication that didn't have a lot in it. It's just a matter of looking in a different way, really looking at stuff and finding the little bits, sitting down and taking the time to look at every little tiny bit. How much of these things can you use? And if you were to really narrow it down to things that you really, really, really liked, you'd find a good 10, or I find a good 10 for myself that I really like. I like that color. I like that texture. I like the lines. It doesn't matter that I don't know what it is. I just like the color. So take a look at what you have. When you're ripping things apart or cutting things out, take a look at what you have left over before you throw it away, because there might be some interesting bit that you didn't notice on the back side or the other side. Parts of things are interesting. Perfect is boring. So I hope this helps. Go out and find those free publications, those advertisements, and find some collage fodder that you didn't know that you could find. Thanks for watching.